Hello everyone, and welcome to the third Winter 2024-25 update from GavsWeatherVids. So here we go again, time to bring you more winter data. We are up to update number 3 now for our winter updates. And this is going to be a true epic. So I'm sure you can see from the tabs around along the top of the screen there. Arrayed, I don't know. But I'm sure, as you see from all of the tabs along the top of the screen there, we have got a lot to get through. So this is going to be like an old school GavsWeatherVids winter update with loads of information included. So I'll try and keep this under the hour mark, but it is going to be, you know, probably the most in-depth winter update that was done so far for this season. So I shall get on back for you in a second. Just say that the first video today was our 6 AM UK weather forecast, and we're going to be live at 6 PM. We'll be discussing this third winter 2024-25 update. We will have 10 to 14 day in that live stream, and of course there will be some long range as well. So I shall see a little bit later on that one. 6 PM, we're back to the usual live stream slot for this week. I mentioned to Richard for our amazing winter updates gift. Richard is on holiday at the moment, so happy holidays, Rich. Hope you're having a lovely time, my friend. Thank you so much to the amazing Richard Short for our winter updates gift. Thank you to Shryan Bruin as well for all of the help on this winter update, and we won't get to the parts of the update but Shrine has helped with. I will of course give Shrine a shout out. Hashtag Team Gav. Absolutely incredible. Thank you so much to Richard and also to Shrine as well. All of these winter updates are building up the picture forensically, remember, on a week by week basis until we release our winter forecast, which this year will be released on Sunday the 1st of December. We already have that date penciled in for you, so the 1st of December will be the day that we release our winter 2024-25 forecast, and I can't wait for that. But we've got a lot to get through before we get to that, I can promise you. Okay, well, all of that said, I reckon it's time to start the third winter 2024-25 update. And we're going to begin this one with some analogues data. So we're going to be looking at August seating and England and Wales precipitation to winter data. So with CET, so central England temperature came in at 17 degrees. That is 1.2 degrees, but 61 to 99 average, warm August. And so we are very simply going to be looking at winters following August with 17 Celsius CT, somewhere between 17 degrees, 17.0 and 17.9. So the first August that does that, back to 1950, is 1959. The winter of 1959-1960 is a mild and wet winter with low pressure heading in off the Atlantic. 1960s was a very cold decade for winters, but you know, it actually starts off generally on a mild and wet note. Does have quite a strong blocking signal, but blocking more over towards the Canadian side of Greenland for this one. So generally a mild wet winter for 1959-1960. But next August with a 17 Celsius CT was 1976, the winter of 76-77. Looks like that, blocking air of high pressure up towards Greenland and low pressure across Western Europe. This winter starts very cold in December and also in January as well. Quite a lot of cold, wintry weather. Does get much milder into February, a mild and wet February in 77. We've got 83, 84 showing up next. So this winter has a very unusual spell of cold zonality, actually. So overall it is an Atlantic-driven winter, high pressure to west, southwest, low pressure to the north, northwest, and the wind coming off the Atlantic. But what's a bit unusual about this winter is that it does pull in a lot of cold air with those westerly winds. We call that cold zonality. I mean, you do get cold zonality most winters, but it doesn't normally last very long, and normally only affects like the far north of the country, so to bring snow. But this winter has much more in way of cold zonality from Canada, lasting, you know, quite a long time. And even down in the south, there is a little bit of snow through this winter, but it's a particularly wintry winter up in the north. Next up, we have 1984. So we're going to have an August CT with in the 17th, since 1984. Winter of 84-85 has lots of low pressure down to the south and has high pressure up to the north and the northeast. It's a very cold winter that we have for 84-85. Just generally mild for December though, so the 84 part of the winter is generally mild. And takes until about, well, between Christmas and New Year for things to start getting colder. But then when the winter gets going, it really gets going. And January is a very cold month, almost a sub-zero CT. January, not quite, but it is a very cold January. And February has its moments as well, with a lot of cold and snowy weather on and off too. So overall, a very cold winter there for 84, 85. Next up, we have 1991. So winter of 91, 92. Well, we don't want, I don't want this one repeating. It's just a winter of anticyclonic gloom, really. High pressure sat over the top of the UK and Ireland. Low pressure's way up here along the jet stream. So it's just one of those winters, you know, but it's very dry, very calm, very gloomy, and not much going on. So, winter to forget for 91, 92. Then we've got 2002, 2003. This looks like it should be a very cold winter with higher pressure between Iceland and Scandinavia. You'll think winter coming in from the east. So it's like a failed cold winter, really, that one. Do have a few cold snaps coming and going, especially in January. There's a couple of quite potent cold snaps, January 2003. But overall, generally quite a mildish winter actually there. And then we got to 2004, 2005. So this one with higher pressure in the Atlantic, low pressure way to the northeast. So this one, again, you know, it has its moments. It has a white Christmas for the northwest of England and Scotland and Northern Ireland as well, I think, in 2004. And it has a much colder spell late February into early March. I mean, it's like a 4-week winter of really quite cold weather. Happens right at the very end of the winter, in the second half of February into the first half of March. But long runs of also very mild weather, particularly the first half of January. And January 2005, even with a colder end, is actually an exceptionally mild month. And so overall it is a milder than an average winter, but with some cold snaps. We've got 2013, 2014. This is an exceptionally wet winter, very stormy winter as well. Low pressure in off the Atlantic, so not much to say about that other than 2013, 2014 is an exceptionally wet mild winter. This is a bit like 91, 92. This is 2016, 17. Again, very anticyclonic, dry, a lot of anticyclonic gloom, not much going on through the winter of 2016, 2017. And then we've got 2019, 2020. This is the PB of Doom winter following a 17 Celsius CT August in 2019. This one very stormy winter, low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south, strong west-southwest wind. So, as I say, that's the PB of Doom winter of 2019, 2020. And then we've got 2020, 2021. This is a colder winter, especially for the north, lots of blocking away to the north. But trough of low just isn't quite positioned correctly. Needs to be slightly further southwards to allow the cold air to really drive in to most parts of the country. But it is quite a cold winter, particularly so up in the north, and even down in the south, it does have some colder outbreaks coming and going as well in 2020. 2021. Right, let's put all that together then. This is how all December's combined are looking following 17 Celsius CT August back 1915. High pressure tends to be to the east of the country, low pressure tends to be to the west. So an unsettled signal and mild for these Decembers, with winds often coming up from a southerly or a southwesterly direction. All January's combined gets much more interesting. Low pressure tending to be through northern and western parts of Europe, and quite a strong blocking signal as well. Quite a strong northern blocking signal there towards Greenland, Iceland into the Arctic, pulling in the wind from the northeast. A colder and potentially quite wintry January could be favoured there, with quite a few of those years. And then all February's combined. Well, the high pressure tends to centre more towards Scandinavia, but we do have a stronger low pressure influence in the Atlantic, so probably overall favouring a milder, wetter February. So it definitely looks like it's January there that has the interest from a cold perspective. And all winters combined following 17 Celsius CT August looks like that. So there is a blocking signal, quite a strong one as well, towards hard. But we do also see quite a bit of low pressure in the Atlantic. It's definitely January that has the interest for colder weather, with not as much interest for December and for February as well. Again, there will be years that deviate on that though. So, for example, I mean 2005 had the coldest weather, later in February, etc, etc, etc. So that's just how it comes out, you know, if you put it all together. Right, that's the first section of this winter update done and dusted. I'll pause the video there. You go off and stretch your legs. When we return, the second part of this winter update, we'll be looking at the quasi-biennial oscillation very briefly. So I shall see you in 2 seconds for that. But for this first section, I'll see you in a moment. That's it. Okay, we're back. We're ready to resume the winter 2024-25 updates from GavsWeatherVids. If you enjoyed the video so far, please do like, share, and subscribe. And thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Tell everybody about the unique content that we're producing here on the channel. And we thank you so much, everybody, for doing that for us. You can't get this level of in-depth updates in terms of winter updates anywhere else online. So again, tell friends, family, neighbours, doctor, vicar, auntie, mother-in-law, all of that good stuff to subscribe. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. We put these little breakpoints in, by the way, along the way, as we know that these are very long updates, and obviously we appreciate people can't sit, well, some people do, some people watch the whole thing in one go, but it is also designed to do these updates in bite sizes, you know, so maybe watch the first section one day, and then the second section another day, and the third section another day. You've got a whole week, you know, till the next installment to be able to watch these, so you can stop the video at breakpoints and come back to it, etc, etc, etc. So that is the idea, and it's designed actually to be viewed like that, you know, not just this update but all of winter updates. Thank you so much, Richard, for our amazing winter updates gift. Thank you so much, my friend. Right, let's resume. So we're going to start off this second section of the third winter update with quasi-biennial oscillation. This is from NASA, just confirming that Westerly Qbo continues to descend from the stratosphere into the troposphere. This is the stratosphere here at 10 HPA, and this is the boundary level of the atmosphere that we call the troposphere, where it's taking place, 30 to 50 HPA. And this sandy brown colour tells us that indeed the Westerly Qbo has descended from the stratum to the trop. In a future winter update, we will be looking at reanalysis to see what Westerly Qbo winters can yield. More about that later on in the updates. Right, moving up to the stratospheric level. We're talking of stratosphere. We'll have a look at the temperature at 10 HPA over the Arctic and the North Pole. This is from a JMA. The grey line is a trend line, cooling time of year, of course, reaching its coldest period sometime around December into the beginning of January. And black line shows how temperatures are forming at the moment at 10 HPA. We're about bang on average, about -50. We'll expect to be with the temperature in the stratosphere over the Arctic and North Pole. We go low down to 30 HPA. There we can see that cooling has taken place. So we start off, actually last week it was a bit above average, but now we are back to the grey line. We are back to our long-term average. So nothing particularly exciting going on, as you would expect. You know, you wouldn't expect any particular notable warmings or coolings or whatnot of the stratosphere at this point in the cycle so early on. Let's see how the latest GFS run, as I'm recording video on Saturday the 14th of September. Let's see how the latest GFS run is predicting temperatures to develop over the next couple of weeks at 10 HPA over the Arctic and North Pole. So the blue colours here are the cold temperatures at 10 HPA. That's the polar vortex at its roots in the stratosphere beginning to get going. Of course, it will get stronger and stronger over the next few weeks and months. And we're going to see those blue colours deepening. So it is going to be turning colder at 10 HPA over the Arctic and North Pole over the next week or so, going down to about -56 or something over Greenland. Now, if we go further on, we can see that, again, the polar vortex continues to get more intense and expanding out as well, particularly centred towards the Greenland and Canadian side of the Arctic and the North Pole. You will notice there's a little bit of green here over Siberia, which is slightly unusual for this time of year. A very minor and modest stratospheric warming, certainly not a sudden stratospheric warming, don't get me wrong, but a very minor stratospheric warming will be occurring over Greenland by the look of it in the second half of September. It's not really of any consequence, but it's slightly unusual, I think, to be seeing temperatures, trying to warm up over Greenland in September. But it could be a leftover legacy of the, of the summer and whatnot. That's how we end up anyway. So the polar vortex, perhaps a bit displaced towards the Canadian and the Greenland side of the Arctic, if anything, at its roots there at 10 HPA. Well, going further out to space and have a look at the sun. This solar disk is looking on our side of this day from solarham.net, and we can see that we've got various sunspot regions, a bit of a spotty sun, and actually Solarham is reporting that solar activity is at high levels, was at high levels on the 14th of September. The prediction is that will stay at moderate levels for the next 3 days. So moderate or high solar activity can be expected. This should be GavsWeatherVids third winter 2024-25 update solar tracker sent through from Shryan. Thank you so much to Keeper of Solar Tracker, Shryan, for sending this through. And thank you so much, by the way, Shryan, for the analogues, or the years together for us, anyway, in the first section of this video. Thank you so much, my friend. Right, okay, so we can see from the orange line and orange spots depicting each individual day's work of sunspot activity and trend, but we are actually dropping down in terms of daily sunspot numbers at the moment. So we reached our daily sunspot number peak, actually, back earlier on in the summer up here. Since then, we've been generally trending downwards a little bit, and we are currently down here. So that's like the lowest we've been for daily sunspot numbers, probably back to the start of June into the latter part of May, something like that. So we may well have had the first peak of solar cycle 24. It's possible that we have just here. Of course, most solar cycles have 2 peaks, have like a double peak, and it tends to be the second peak, I think, but often is stronger of the two. So we might still have like the actual solar maximum of the solar cycle to go. Have to see about that, but it could be that this is like the first peak of solar cycle 25 anyway. So we're currently down here with our daily sunspot numbers. The trend lines, which are the thick green and thick blue lines, they are trending down a little bit as well. Thick green line is the 30-day average. That's come down quite a bit, actually, from earlier in the summer. The 60-day average moves much less. That's the blue line. That also is ticking down very slightly. So at the moment, daily sunspot numbers are on a downtrend. But I have to say, but the sunspots that we're producing, given like today, we're at high levels of solar activity. So although we're not producing as many daily sunspot numbers, the sunspots we are producing at the moment are still very strong, as you'd expect, around solar maximum. Thank you so much, Shryan, for sending through the solar data there. Thanks so much, my friend. Right, Eurasian Snowcover. This is how, and Arctic Cirrus step, this is how things are looking in terms of Eurasian Snowcover. And we did last week's second update, 1 or 2 white patches, but not much to be seen. This is the latest, and we have seen some quite significant gains in snow cover here over the far north and northeastern portions of Siberia. Much larger white patches opening out. I don't think it's anything more than you'd expect at the middle of September. Excuse me, everybody. But, certainly compared to last week anyway, quite a significant increase in snow cover there in the far eastern and northeastern portion of Russia and also Siberia. Eventually, this whole area will fill up with snow. The whole of Siberia and Russia and also Scandinavia will be filling up with snow over the next 2 or 3 months, and we will monitor that. And when we get into October, we'll start doing comparisons back to previous years and whatnot, as we always do. In terms of Arctic sea ice, I think we've pretty much reached our minimum for this this melt season. So the blue line here shows the daily amount of Arctic sea ice that we have in terms of millions of a kilometre. And you can see that we bottomed out, I think, and maybe we're starting to tick up. So I reckon we've reached, probably anyway, the minimum for this year's Arctic sea ice exempt. And we should be going on an upwards trend from here. Let's see how we compare with our 10-year averages. So 2011, 2020, how we compare to that. So we're slightly under our most recent 10-year average, 2011 to 2020. We're going to be even more under 2001 to 2010 average, of course, and 91 to 2000, we're going to be even more under that green line. And then finally, 79 to 1990, which is the orange line, we're even more under that 10-year average as well. So, it's been a big melt season, but how are we doing compared to previous years? So this is 2003. We're virtually on par with 2003, which is 2022. So again, we're virtually on par with 2000. No, we're under 2020. What I'm talking about. This is 2021. So with that one, we're under that one as well. This is 2020. We're above 2020 for this year's melt season, Arctic Circus extent. We're bang on 2019, and we are under 2018. What about 2017? So we, of course, are quite a bit under 2017. 2016, we're bang on that year. 2015, we're slightly under 2015. 2014, we're significantly under that year. And 2013, we're significantly under that year as well. This is the record minimum year, 2012. We're significantly above 2012. So 2012, our record minimum for Arctic Circus extent remains safe once again for another year. It is now 12 years since we had that record minimum year. And as I say, 2012 remains safe for another year. 2011, we're virtually bang on 2011. And 2010, we're under 2010. 2009, we're significantly under that year. And 2008, a little bit under 2008. 2007, bang on that year. And 2006 was significantly under that one. 2005, check this out, quite significantly under 2005. And 2004, way under that year. Of course, we're going back now further and further. So we see that 2003, under that year 2002, we're under that year 2001, we're under that year. And at 2000, we are under that year as well. 1999, I'll put that one in, and we're under that one too. 1998, 1997, 1996, 1995, 1994. 1995 was actually quite a big year. Let's get rid of some of those. 1995, interesting. That was quite a big melt season. Year. Not anything that noteworthy, by modern standards. But for the time, 1995 was quite a significant melt season and low Arctic size extent. But of course, we've well and truly superseded that over the past past few years. Anyway, get rid of that. 1994, so we're well under that. 1993 and 1992. And 1991, and 1990, 1989, 1988, 1987, 1986, 1985, 1984, 1983, 1982, 1981, 1980, and 1979. In fact, why don't we put in all years? And there they are. So again, you see 2012 standing out just there. And it is hard to pick out this year, but there it is. So we are at the very lowest end of the range for this year's melt season, and Arctic Circus extent. It is one of the biggest years that we've had. Only 2020, I think, and of course 2012, having a bigger melt season and on a par with, 2019, 2016. But we're at the very lowest end of the range, even though, again, 2012 remains safe for another year. And that is how the whole set looks back to 1979. We probably won't look at this again. I think that pretty much covered it. Unless something strange happens, we get more melting over the next week or something. But that could well be the last time in this season that we look at Arctic sea ice extent. Okay, so again, we'll have a little break. I think you guys digest what you just witnessed. Unique content from GavsWeatherVids, and we'll be back in a little while. And when we come back, we're going to be looking at oceans data. I shall see a little bit for that one. But for this second part of the third winter update, then I'll see you in a second. We're done for this part. See you soon. Okay, we're back and we're ready to resume the third winter 2024-25 updates from GavsWeatherVids. Thank you so much, everybody. An epic update so far, and we're doing really well for time, actually. We're only 25 minutes in. We have covered a lot of ground so far on this winter update. So thank you so much to each and every one of you for the support on this winter update, and of course on our season of winter updates as well. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks so much to Richard, the amazing winter updates. Dear, thanks so much, my friend. Right, well, let's resume the third section, or the third part of the third winter 2024-25 update. And we're looking at oceans data for to start us off for this third section. So this is how the oceans looking when we did last week's second winter update. So we've got our 4 interest areas. We have got the equatorial Pacific Ocean just here, the northern, and particular focus on the Northeast Pacific just there. Indian Ocean is over here, and the Atlantic Ocean is over there. So that is how the oceans were looking we did last week's second winter update, and this is the latest. So let's deal with the ENSO region first of all. Well, we still have the very weak signature of the La Nina there. Cold average sea surface temperature anomalies stretching out across the equatorial Pacific Ocean from Peru over here to Indonesia over here. Has there been any development over the past week? Let's go back and have a look. So again, that's how the equatorial Pacific was looking last week, and this is belated. So I think we've probably seen a bit of a weakening of the La Nina signature in the eastern portion through here, but at the same time we might have seen a bit of a strengthening of the La Nina signature through the central portion of the equatorial Pacific Ocean. Overall, this is a weak La Nina event, even if it has actually reached La Nina threshold, which it probably hasn't quite done actually just yet. We do see cold average sea surface temperature lines down here off the coast of Chile, however, and that is often a precursor to La Nina. So very gradually we continue to see La Nina at least trying to get its act together and trying to get going. Let's go northwards into the North Pacific. Again, that's how things were looking last week. Again, particular focus around here as well. This is the latest. So we're probably seeing this area cooling a little bit round here. Still pretty warm towards the west coast of America, and very warm over here, of course, towards the Japan and whatnot. But I think like the northeastern Pacific is probably cooling actually, and that could be in response to the La Nina signature. So we might be starting to very gradually move our way into a cold PDO type signature. What about the Indian Ocean? Again, we're looking over here now, and that's how things were looking last week. This is the latest. Not much change there in the Indian Ocean. We established last week in the second winter update that the Indian Ocean dipole, the iodine, is in a neutral phase, and we're expecting it to stay in a neutral phase through to winter as well. It doesn't look like the Indian Ocean dipole will be a particularly big player either way for the winter of 2024-2025. And over in the North Atlantic, finally, so again, that's how the North Atlantic was looking for last week's second winter update. This is the latest. Not much change there, to be honest. So we have seen a little bit of cooling, though, that's taken place here, off the coast of Spain down to North Africa, continuing to cool things to the west of the UK and Ireland up here. And possibly even into the tropical Atlantic or subtropical Atlantic. Things might be edging down slightly, although still warmer than average. Travel at 7-day seven-day change in a moment. Overall, it does remain quite warm though in most parts of the Atlantic, particularly around here, so like to the east of Newfoundland, and whatnot just remain pretty warm through there, Nova Scotia, etc. And like around the Caribbean as well, looks pretty warm through there as well. Notice that the Mediterranean is also beginning to cool down a little bit, and possibly signs that things are cooling up here. So overall, it looks as though on the European side of the Atlantic, things are cooling a bit. But, you know, in the deeper water, they're quite shallow waters, of course, they're subject to quite significant short-term changes and fluctuations due to the weather. But in the deeper waters of the Atlantic, you know, central North Atlantic, through here, for example, it looks like we're still pretty warm in most areas. But let's have a look at the 7-day change. So dealing with the ENSO region, first of all, that confirms that over the past 7 days, we have seen the La Nina just strengthening a little bit through the central western portion, but easing off the gas slightly through the eastern portion. So warming is generally taking place in the eastern portion and cooling through the central and western portion up into the northern Pacific. So again, this area has cooled over the past 7 days and around here as well. So we might be starting to inch our way towards the cold PDO type thing. So the Indian Ocean generally has warmed a little bit over the past 7 days. And in the North Atlantic, you see there's more blue than green and yellow anyway in most areas, especially here, and particularly like towards the European side, as I say. No, sorry, but it's towards the European side. And up here in Norwegian Sea, generally most parts on our side of the Atlantic are cooling, actually, and have cooled over the past 7 days. And even like in the tropics and the subtropics, it's not as clear-cut, but all areas are warming. Some areas are warming still, particularly in the Caribbean, as I say, but some areas are cooling slightly as well. Albeit, you know, because the sea surface temperature is so significantly above average, it hasn't been able to pull things down to being below average. But it does look as though the Atlantic might be entering into a little bit of the cooling phase at the moment, actually. Again, particularly in this eastern portion, you know, and you see the North Sea, you know, cooling there, Mediterranean, quite significant cooling that's taking place through there as well. And again, as I say, in the Norwegian Sea, quite significant warmings, coolings, I should say, has taken place. And we can't really make it out very well, but the Baltic Sea has also seen some quite significant cooling too. So, quite interesting. Those are shallow waters, as I say, they are subject to quite significant short-term temperature changes and fluctuations due to changing weather conditions. It's always like the deeper waters of the Atlantic and deeper Pacific as well, but change much more slowly and much more gradually. This is the Southern Oscillation Index, the SOI, an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state, looking at air pressures between Tahiti and Darwin, measuring those, may coming out with an overall SOI number. If the SOI is negative, then the atmospheric setup will be reflective of El Nino. If the SOI is positive, then the atmospheric setup will be reflective of La Nina. Now, if we're going to have a La Nina tailing off, you expect consistent positivity by now of the SOI. Again, we are starting to see it. We did see that quite a bit back in August when the La Nina did strengthen quite a lot. So back into August, we get some quite positive SOI numbers with the ocean and the atmosphere, you know, quite nicely coupled with one another in like a La Nina direction. But more recent days, it's been nowhere near as clear cut as that. So for example, we've got the 7th of September at minus 5.82, atmospheric setup reflective of El Nino. 8th of September at minus 7.25, again that's an El Nino time atmospheric setup. The 9th about neutral. Then the 10th does go to more of a La Nina type setup, 10th of September at plus 6, but then we go negative again. So on the 11th of September we're at minus 2, 12th of September at minus 18, very negative, it's quite strongly reflective of El Nino that day. 13th at minus 4 and 14th at minus 2. You do expect like day-to-day variation, day-to-day fluctuation. So even when you're at the peak of either an El Nino or a La Nina, you still sometimes will get days that will be reflective of like the other end of the scale. So if you're at an El Nino, at the peak of an El Nino, for example, you might get a few days here and there that are reflective of La Nina, those of the SOI, and the same is true, you know, the other way around. But this is more consistent sort of negativity at the moment, which is probably, as I say, one of the reasons why but La Nina hasn't really strengthened that much. May have weakened slightly in the eastern portion, hasn't really strengthened that much over the past week. So again, this La Nina continues to struggle. CFSV2 looks like this with its forecast, so temperature anomalies on the side, dates appears along the bottom, and we can see from black dash line that still CFS is forecasting a weak La Nina, so we're currently somewhere around here, just making it into La Nina threshold. We go down to just under 1 degree below average, that's a weak La Nina, and it moves up, coming back up into 2025. It is interesting and of note, though, that the blue lines here are the most recent Oscillation blue members, and they have backed off further from the La Nina signature. Remember, you've got to get half a degree or more below average over 5 tri-monthly periods to get a La Nina designated. We might struggle to do that a little bit with this La Nina. We'll have to wait and see. Keep you updated. In terms of the Atlantic 2024 hurricane season, currently looking like this. This is the hurricane season page from Wikipedia. Scores on the doors currently show that we have had 7 tropical depressions, we have had 7 tropical storms, we have had 4 hurricanes, and we have had 1 major category 3 or above hurricane. So everything is up other than the major from last week. Everything is up 1, but the major is unchanged. This is how ACE is looking. ACE Master Shrine has updated this. Thanks to Shrine for updating our ACE page. Remember, accumulated cyclone energy is telling us how much each individual storm is, how much energy each individual storm is emitting, and then, you know, totaling it all up for an overall accumulated cyclone energy season number and classification. Classifications are below normal, near normal, above average, hyperactive. If we come down to 2024, we can see that our ACE is now sitting at 6710 up to the 14th of September. And that is not what I'm talking about. That's wrong, isn't it? What are you doing, Gav? No, let's do that again. Sorry, Shrine. Our ACE is currently sitting, nice save, Bo. Our ACE is currently sitting at 60.40, 60.4, after 7 tropical storms, 4 hurricanes, and 1 major category 3 or above hurricane. This is the running average. So at this point in the season, we should be at 67.10, and that should be after 9 tropical storms and 4 hurricanes and 2 major hurricanes. So actually we are slightly under average for this, slightly below normal for this hurricane season for 2024, both in ACE and in terms of the overall numbers, at least for tropical storms and for major hurricanes anyway. So again, bit of a struggle to get this 2024 Atlantic hurricane season going. We shall continue to monitor. Thanks to the ACE Master Shrine for updating that. Good miss, isn't it? Another good update. I hope you're enjoying it, everyone. RT Oscillation observed and broadcast. Next, remember the AO is just an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state. It doesn't drive anything in its own terms. It tells us what the atmosphere is doing when the AO is in a positive phase. We've got low pressure over the Arctic, and when the AO is in a negative phase, we've got high pressure blocking over the Arctic and the North Pole. Now, check this out. We are already negative with the Arctic Oscillation. But the GFS ensembles are forecasting that the AO can do a bit of a bungee jump, a bit of a plummet over the next week or so. Actually coming to really quite a significantly negative level there, going down on the scale almost about -3. That's quite unusual, especially for September. September isn't really a month that you associate with northern blocking. So it does look as though we're going to have appreciable amounts of northern blocking over the Arctic and the North Pole over the next week or two. Coming back up, but still staying negative, even towards the end of September, actually, if the GFS ensembles are right. So it looks like we're entering into a long-term negative phase of the Arctic Oscillation. At the same time, the North Atlantic Oscillation also appears to be going into a negative phase. So at the moment we are weakly negative with the LEO. And again, this is measuring air pressures in the North Atlantic this time. It's a dry anything, so in terms of tells us what the atmosphere is doing. So when you've got a positive LEO, you're going to have high pressure around the Azores, low pressure around Iceland, and you'll strengthen the zone of westerlies. And, you know, when you've got a negative LEO, you will weaken the Azores high, and you will also weaken the Icelandic low, and sometimes you'll reverse it actually and get high pressure on Iceland and low pressure through the Azores. So we're currently weak and negative. We're going to go up towards neutral in the next few days, but then again, as the AO Arctic Oscillation is doing a plummet, it looks like the LEO could well do a plummet as well. So we go into quite a strongly negative phase of the LEO. At the same time, we go into quite a strongly negative phase of the AO. That is pretty unusual for September, I think. And so that's going to be interesting to see whether that is maintained. This is the long-term Arctic Oscillation forecast based on the CFS. This is coming from Kyle M.A. Critching.com. And we looked at this last week for the first time ever. I thought we'd include it again this week. So this is the current sort of decline of the Arctic Oscillation. The CFS is forecasting that the AO is going to stay in a negative phase generally through to the early part of October, probably going a little bit closer towards neutral though later on in October, but then dropping again actually through November and into the beginning of winter. We actually get to the 12th of December with this forecast here from the CFS. A long-term neutral negative phase of the Arctic Oscillation, telling us there's probably going to be quite significant levels of northern blocking, you know, over the next couple of months, if that forecast is correct. So the LEO is looking as well. So again, there's that drop in the LEO, but the GFS ensembles are picking up on through the second half of September. Into October, it looks like the LEO goes back towards a weekly positive phase there. So possibly strengthening westerly flow a little bit, maybe more strongly positive around the term of October to November, but going negative again through November. So November could be shaping up, be quite interesting here from an AO LEO perspective. If they're both negative, both indexes are negative in November, that could be a signal for colder weather in November. Of course, that is a long way off. This CFS is not the most reliable, model at the best of times, but food for thought and quite interesting. Quite interesting there. Right, we've got one more break point to come, and when we return, we are going then to look at our last set of analogues, which we'll be looking at August England and Wales precipitation data. So hang around, and that last set of analogues will be with you in about 2 seconds time. Okay, we're ready to resume the final part of the epic for Winter 2024-25 update. If you've enjoyed the video so far, then please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much to everybody for doing that. And don't forget to tell your friends and family about GavsWeatherVids and the unique content that we are bringing you, particularly in relation to the long range of our weekly winter updates. You can't see this level of in-depth information anywhere else online. So again, please, tell everybody if you think they'd be interested about what we're doing here at GavsWeatherVids. Thank you so much. It's been an epic video, and despite me thinking this might come out over an hour, actually we're doing pretty well for time. It's only 42 minutes in. That's still a very long video, of course, but I thought we'd probably be pushing the hour for this one. Let's see if we could bring it in to 50 minutes. Let's have a look. So as I say, we're going to end where we began with more August and also August to winter analogues and data. So we started with the CT. We're going to look at England and Wales precipitation. August England and Wales precipitation came in at 48.8 millimeters, which is actually a drier than average month, just 59% of average. See from this blue line being underneath the black line that August 2024 was consistently a drier than normal month. So that's quite interesting, a bit of a change on most of the months over the past year or so. So we're going to be having a look at winters following August with an England Wales precipitation range of 38 to 58 millimeters. It places August 2024 nicely in the middle of that range. We begin again with 1959, 1960. So we have to look at this, of course, the first set of analogues at the start of the video. It's back at the end. So as I explained, this is a mild and wet winter with plenty of low pressure coming in off the Atlantic. Don't need to dwell on that one too long. Got 64, 65 showing up next. So that one has high pressure in the North Atlantic, and let's change the colour. Low pressure is across much of Western and also Southern Europe. This is quite a coldish winter. Starts mild, but gets colder later. So I think February and March of 1965 are quite cold. We've got 1975, 1976. This is dry and mild winter. Very mild winter, actually, with high pressure centred just out to west, low pressure away to the north. And then we've got 81, 82 following an August, England Wales precipitation range 38 to 58 millimetres. This was a cold winter, very cold in December of 1981, almost a sub-zero city December, and has a big freeze up in January of 1982 as well. Does end mild though, February 82 is generally mild, and that's why the analogue overall isn't that impressive. But winter of 81, 82 is a cold or even a very cold winter despite the mild February. And then 84, 85 is back again as well. Lots of low pressure away to the south, and of course we've got this blocking area of high pressure up to the north. We saw it in the first set of analogues. It's back again for our second set. So as I explained, generally quite mild for most of December 84, but gets very cold in January of 85, and February 85 has some quite cold weather times as well. Got another cold winter, again following August, England Wales precipitation range of 38, 58 millimetres. This is 1990, 1991, with high pressure favoured towards Scandinavia this time, and winds in from the east. So of course it has to be famous Midland snowstorm in December 1990. Then the rest of December quite mild and stormy, especially around Christmas and New Year. Then a dry, cold, frosty January, and then big freeze into February 1991. Exceptionally cold, the coldest single spells of weather of the 20th century, actually, in February 1991. 1993-94 is a very stormy and wet winter, but does have some cold weather at times, but overall is slightly milder than average. And then we've got 98-99 with a few cold snaps coming and going, but again, quite a mild Atlantic-driven type winter with winds in from a west or a northwesterly direction. It does have a few cold snaps here and there, though. And then we've got 2020, we've got 2021, 2022, sorry, I should say, as our last year, with higher pressure generally around the West Europe. That's, again, quite a nondescript, sort of benign winter we have there in 2021, 2022. Looked like it's going to be cold winter up to Christmas. And then the cold Christmas with 2 days to go got cancelled, and the rest of the winter was mild, and I found myself in a little bit of trouble, but we won't go over that again. Right, so this is how all Decembers combined are looking. Following an August, England Wales precipitation range of 38 to 58 millimetres. Overall, an unsettled single fall beat Decembers with plenty of low pressure in the north and the west of Europe, and not a particularly cold signal either. All Januaries combined, similar to the first set, actually gets more interesting though, with a mid-Atlantic ridge going up towards Greenland and a trough of low pressure across the north and west of Europe, and so you could certainly envisage cold snaps anyway in quite a few of those Januaries. And then all Februaries combined, maybe even more interesting, tending to have high pressure between Iceland and Norway, so generally to the north of the UK and Ireland. And so that will favour light easterly winds, so perhaps drier but also quite cold. Februaries could be favoured here quite a lot of the time. And finally, all winters combined, following August, England Wales precipitation of 38 to 58 millimetres, looks like that. So we tend to get lower pressure across most parts of Europe and higher pressure. Sound a bit like play your cards right, don't I? higher, lower. Higher pressure towards the north and towards the northwest around Greenland. It's not a clear-cut cold zone, particularly because of what's happening in the Decembers. But I think the Januaries and Februaries, you know, could have some colder potential at times there Maybe. Thanks to Australian for sorting out our years for both the analog data sets and for all of the help on this update. And we've come to the end at 48 minutes, so I think this is probably going to be the shortest of the winter updates. Even though I thought this would be the longest, it's actually coming out the shortest of the winter updates so far. But don't worry, they will probably get longer from here. We shall see. No, 50 minutes is a nice running time, I think. So if we can keep things under an hour, that that's always good. Right, so thank you so much to Shrine Britain for all the help on this third winter update. Thank you to Richard Shaw for our amazing winter updates. GF hashtag Team Gav, as always, doing a fantastic job. And Richard's on holiday. When Richard returns in a couple of weeks, it's going to be for the 5th update. The Swingo will be back as well. So some of you are wondering where the swingometer is. It takes a few updates to be able to calibrate it. Anyway, no, it's always a few updates in before we can bring you the Swingo. But the Swingo will be back for probably the 5th winter update. So the King of Swing will soon be swinging when he gets back from his holidays. Right, so thank you so much everybody for tuning in to Third Winter Update. It's been an epic. Thank you so much all of you sticking with it. And again, please tell your friends, your family, what we're doing at GavsWeatherVids with these winter updates. So we thank you so much for doing that. Share these videos by way across social media, your Facebook pages, etc., etc., etc. We want these to be shared as far and wide as they can be. We're going to be back at 6 PM live, so if you've got any questions about this third winter update, or you just want to let me know your thoughts about it, then I'll be live at 6 PM, and we'll include a 10 to 14 dayer, and of course bring you some long range on that live stream as well, so I shall see you a little bit later on. But for the third winter 2024-25 update from GavsWeatherVids at 50 minutes, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.